From day one of his presidency, President Trump has actively undermined our public health programs. He repeatedly proposed cuts to the CDC and the National Institutes for Health. In early February, as the coronavirus outbreak began to spread, Trump proposed cutting global health programs by 34%. He eliminated pandemic response leadership positions at the National Security Council and the Department of Homeland Security. And at a time when people need health insurance more than ever, President Trump is actively working every single day to rip healthcare away from millions of Americans by backing a lawsuit to gut the Affordable Care Act and selling more and more junk insurance plans. When the outbreak first began, Trump sat on his hands, failing to deploy a reliable test so that families could know for sure who has the infection. Now we're way behind in getting tests in the hands of healthcare providers. And Trump's refusal to ask for emergency funding at the beginning of the crisis, now it jeopardizes our ability to manage the response going forward. And of course, the icing on the cake is that Trump is also making up facts that hurt our first responders. Most significantly, he has been telling Americans that a vaccine is just around the corner, building up false hope when all his experts are telling him that it will take over a year before we have any chance of a vaccine. The bottom line, this administration was and still is wholly unprepared to deal with this health crisis. But it's not too late. Here's what needs to happen right now. Congress should pass an emergency funding package immediately to help the CDC and state and local health departments combat the virus. This will support expanded testing, prevention efforts, and research into developing an eventual vaccine for coronavirus. The administration needs to restore public health officials to top government posts and stop proposing dangerous additional cuts to the CDC and the NIH that leave us vulnerable. We should be bolstering our public health programs, not slashing them. The Trump administration needs to tell people the truth and arm them with accurate information. The administration has fed conspiracy theories that public health officials are then forced to clear up. We need to give people confidence in our response, let them know what they can do to protect themselves and stop stoking misinformation. Coronavirus has the world and Americans on edge. While the risk of infection is still low here in America, new cases are popping up every day. Our job as a country right now is to come together to confront the growing coronavirus epidemic. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't have a vigorous debate about what's gone wrong already so that we can fix mistakes for the next pandemic. And on readiness for coronavirus, President Trump has already made a ton of mistakes that we need to correct and that we cannot afford to repeat. The American people deserve better. I'm going to continue pressing this administration to take this public health crisis seriously.